Donald Trump says the United States is acting to protect Americans, right? But the brutal reality is that Americans are already dying. Hundreds of American service members have been wounded civilly. Taxpayers are paying tens of billions of dollars, and this conflict with Iran is becoming more dangerous every single day. So, as of the latest confirmed reporting, 14 American service members have died in connection with this war with Iran. More than 400 have been wounded. So many of those injuries involve traumatic brain injuries, the type of damage that may not disappear simply because of soldier returning probably to duty. Now, instead of moving decisively towards ending the conflict, Donald Trump has authorized another wave of American military strikes against Iran. Think of that. On July 14th, the United States military announced that it had completed its latest round of attack under Trump's direction. So this means the fighting is not winding down. It is expanding again on a very broader way. And every new strike creates the possibility of another Iranian response. That is for sure. Another attack on an American base, another destroyed aircraft. Now, another wounded soldier, so many, another family receiving the worst telephone call of their entire life. So that is the situation America is facing right now. So Donald Trump entered office repeatedly presenting himself as the president who would avoid endless wars. And you look what's happening around now. Now, he criticized Washington for spending trillions of dollars in the Middle East, right? As we remember that. He argued that previous American leaders had wasted American lives and American money in conflicts that produced instability instead of victory. But instead, his administration is becoming deeply involved in another major Middle Eastern war, and it's happening right now. So there is no still clear explanation of what the final victory is supposed to look like. So is the goal to destroy Iran's nuclear program, or probably is the goal to force Iran into negotiations? Or is the goal to control the Strait of Hormuz? Or is it to overthrow the Iranian government? Or maybe is America simply attacking Iran whenever Trump believes Tehran has crossed another red line? Now, those are completely different missions and completely different stories. So when a government cannot clearly explain the mission, it becomes impossible to know when the war is supposed to end. So this is where the chaos begins. Now, the current confrontation intensified after ceasefire collapsed and Iran resumed attack and pressure around the Strait of Hormuz. And it's just getting nastier and nastier. So the United States says Iran must stop threatening commercial shipping and must guarantee freedom of navigation through one of the most important energy routes in the entire world. So that concern is very legitimate. Iran cannot be allowed to fire missiles over commercial vessels, attack foreign based on threatening international shipping without consequences. But the serious question is whether Donald Trump's military approach is making Americans safer or probably creating even larger cycle of retaliation. So the United States has attacked Iranian missile systems, air defense positions, drone facilities, naval assets, and military infrastructures around the Strait of Hormuz. So American officials say the objective is to reduce Iran's ability to attack ships and American forces. So Iran has responded by targeting American military positions and facilities all across the Gulf region. So that is how escalation works. America strikes Iran, Iran answers against American forces or American allies. So the United States responds with even larger operation than what Iran does. Iran launches another round of larger retaliation. Eventually, both governments begin claiming that every new attack is defensive, even while the war keeps expanding more. Now, Donald Trump has now formally informed Congress that military operation against Iran resumed on July 7. So the administration argues that the president of the United States has the authority to use the military force to protect Americans and American interests. But the use of residential war power is becoming another major controversy. By notifying Congress under the War Powers Resolution, Trump has effectively started another period of during which military operation can continue without a new specific authorization from Congress. That's a huge thing. Now, that may satisfy the administration's legal position temporarily, but it does not answer the large democratic question. How long can one president continue widening a war before Congress is required to debate it? So vote on it or probably take responsibility for it. Now, American soldiers are not theoretical numbers. They are real people being placed within the range of Iranian missile and drones here. Now, according to the latest reporting, the US military death toll has reached 14. 13 of those deaths occurred during the earlier phase of this conflict. Now, the latest death involved a Navy pilot who died following a helicopter emergency landing in the Arabian Sea. So the Navy described that the incident as non-hostile. So that distinction really matters a lot. It means we should not falsely claim that Iranian directly killed every American included in the total, but it also does not make the death meaningless. Operational deaths are still part of a human cost of the wars. Now, when aircraft are flying combat support missions, shippings are operating under emergency conditions, and military crews are working under constant pressure 24/7. Accidents can become part of the price of this operation. More than 400 American service members have also reportedly been wounded very badly. Now, many suffered traumatic brain injuries, which is crazy. A traumatic brain injury can affect memory, sleep, concentration, balance, mood, a person's ability to return to the normal life. That's crazy. Now, some troops may return to duty quickly, but others may carry the consequences for years and years. So the true cost of the war, therefore, cannot be measured only by counting death. No, we cannot count like that. It also includes the injured bodies, damaged minds, long-term medical treatment, disability benefits, and families whose lives are changed permanently with traumatic things. Then there is the financial cost. By May, a Pentagon official told lawmakers that the estimated military cost of operation against Iran has increased to approximately $29 billion. Now, more recent independent estimates have placed the direct military expenses as high as $42 billion, although the higher figure is an estimate rather than the finalized government accounting. That may still only be the beginning of this. First 6 days alone were reportedly estimated at approximately $11.3 billion. Think about that. More than $11 billion in less than 1 week. Now, that money goes into missiles, aircraft operation, Navy deployment, air defense, fuel, repair, transportation, intelligence, surveillance, and replacing weapons that have already been used. Now, modern warfare burns through money at an extraordinary speed, as we are seeing this. A single advanced interceptor can cost millions of dollars. A single long-range missile can cost millions and millions of dollars. Aircraft requires fuel, maintenance, replacement, parts, and probably protected bases, right? So carrier groups require thousands of personnel, enormous logistics support. So when Iranian missiles or drones damage American equipment, taxpayers, they pay again to repair, probably to replace it, a lot of money. Now, the government does not possess its probably own magical supply of money. This is public money. It comes from American taxpayers borrowing in future governments' budgets. Every billions of dollars spent on an expanding war is $1 billion that cannot simultaneously to be used for reduced debts, improve infrastructure, strengthen border security, support veterans, repair schools, or lower financial pressure facing American families. Now, that does not automatically mean every military expenses is unjustified. National defense costs money. Protecting shipping routes cost a lot of money. Defending American troops cost a lot of money. But the public deserves to know what it is buying exactly. What is the strategy? What is the timetable? What is the maximum acceptable cost? What happens if Iranian refuse every demand? What happens if Iran launches a major attack that kills dozens of Americans? Does Donald Trump order a larger bombing campaign, or does American attack Iranian leadership? Or probably does the conflict expand into a ground war? That would be crazy. Now, what role is Congress prepared to play? So these questions are especially serious because the Strait of Hormuz is not a normal shipping lane. It is not, it will not be. A significant portion of the world's oil supply moves through that narrow region. So when tankers are attacked or shipping slows, energy market reacts massively. Oil becomes a lot more expensive, as we are seeing every single day. Transportation becomes a lot more expensive. Manufacturing becomes expensive. Eventually, those costs reaches ordinary people through gasoline prices, airline tickets, food delivery, heating, electricity, and consumer goods, as probably you are experiencing those. So taxpayers may pay for this conflict twice. First, through the federal money spent on the military operation, and second, through the higher price caused by disrupted energy supplies and instability all across the globe. Now, that is why the claim what this war is happening far away from the ordinary Americans is misleading. American families can feel it through the federal budget easily. They can feel it at the gas pump when they're going to fill the gas. They can feel when the military families lose loved ones. They can feel it when Washington probably becomes consumed by another foreign conflict, while domestic problems, they remain unresolved. Trump's defenders will argue that weakness would be even more expensive. They will probably say Iran only responds to force. They will argue that allowing Iran to threaten the Strait of Hormuz would damage the global economy and encourage more Iranian aggression. Now, that argument cannot simply be dismissed. Iran has attacked shippings and military targets over and over again. It has used missiles and drones throughout the region. Now, the United States has a genuine responsibility to protect its service members and preserve international navigation. But military power without a defined political objective can become a very solid trap. Bombing can destroy missile launchers. It cannot automatically produce a stable peace agreement. Bombing can basically damage an air defense system, but it cannot guarantee that Iran will abandon its nuclear ambition. Bombing can punish Iran, but on the other hand, it can also strengthen the hardliners inside Iran who argue that negotiations with Washington is impossible. So every American strike gives Iran another justification, at least in its own propaganda, to continue attacking American interests. So this is the contradiction at the center of Trump's strategy. He says military pressure will force Iran to negotiate. That's what he says. But military pressure can also convince Iran to surrendering under attack would make its government appear weak. Now, Trump says the strikes are protecting Americans, but each expansion places more American troops at the risk of retaliation. Trump says he wants peace, but peace requires more than saying that negotiations remains possible when bomb continues falling. It basically requires a realistic diplomatic framework, enforceable condition, and a clear path for both sides to step back without immediately restarting the conflict. So right now, the United States appears caught between the war and the negotiations. Donald Trump says talks can continue, but at the same time, American aircraft and naval forces continue striking Iranian targets. That's the weirdest thing. Now, Iran says it is defending itself. At the same time, Iranian forces attack shipping and military positions across the entire Gulf region. Both sides are applying pressure on each other. Neither sides want to appear weak. So that is exactly the environment in which one miscalculation can create a huge disaster. A missile could strike the wrong location. An Iranian attack could kill a larger number of American troops. Think about that for a moment. An American strike could hit civilians or probably senior Iranian leaders. A tanker attack could shut down shipping totally. America must now ask a simply but extremely serious question. What is Donald Trump trying to achieve, and how many lives and how many billions of dollars is he prepared to spend achieving it? Because America has already lost 14 service members connected to this particular war. More than 400 have been wounded. Direct military costs have already reached tens of billions of dollars. So the latest strikes proves that the confrontation is not finished yet. And without a clear endgame, every new attack risks turning into a dangerous conflict, into another endless American war. Trump may believe that overwhelming pressure will force Iran to back down. Iran may believe that continued resistance will force America to leave. But when both sides build their strategy around the expectation that the other side will eventually surrender, the result is not usually peace. It's a chaos. The result is huge escalation. The result is a lot of spending, billions and billions of dollars, more retaliations, more wounded soldiers, more dead soldiers, more grieving families from both sides, more chaos from both sides. So the US has the strongest military in the world. It's undeniable. But the military strength is not the same thing as strategic success. Real leadership is not measured not only by how many targets a president can destroy. It is measured by whether president can clearly explain why Americans are being placed in danger and what victory looks like and exactly how this war will end. Until Donald Trump answers those questions, the American public is being asked to pay for this war whose final destination remains dangerously unclear. Let me know in the comments below what do you think, and let me know where this war is exactly going. Thank you. See you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and stay up to date.